Well, good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I keep pausing my thing. It doesn't stay paused. Oh, I hope everybody is well. This is just incredible. We keep getting, look at gold 50. It was 50. Then it went to, we're having trouble at 51, and it went right from 50 to 51 to 52. You can see it's up $200. And I don't know who would profit take or who would short it. They're got to be out of their minds. And silver 113.36. It did hit as high as 115. So yesterday it was down to 103, 104, and then it quickly got bought and gets up to 115, comes back a little, now 113. This is the 10 o'clock drop. As you see, this one from 52.98 to 52.50. So it still went $40 on the 10 o'clock drop, but now coming back. Let's see what silver did on our 10 o'clock drop. Oh, same chart. It was 115, a little bit more, and it went down to 113, and now it's coming back to 115. So you can see the real values. I do my spreadsheet and I keep track of it. So I say, well, since January 1, 2025, how much did it go up in 2025? Then I do a 26 one, and then I do, well, from Jan 2025 to today, how much did we do? And it's amazing. It was $30 in 2025. It ended up to $72. It was exactly 42, right? And then this year is up exactly 42. Only it hasn't been a month yet where it was a whole year last year to go from 30 to 72. This year in 1 month, it went from 72 to 114. And gold, the same thing. Gold was 2,500 Jan 2025 and ended at 3,900, something like that. And now it's 3,900 or 4,000 to now it's 5,200. So you can see it's accelerating. And that's why I keep track of it. So this has all been accelerating. I mean, look at 30 days. It's up $714 in 30 days, and it's up $1,700 in just 6 months. And you can see a year, it's up 23.30. But you can see 5 years is only 32. So you can see all this is happening now, right? It's just starting as we predicted far ago. I mean, I called that many years ago. I remember I gave an ounce of gold to Jenna, and it was 20. I won't forget it. It was in October in Italy, and it was worth 20. It was worth like 2,700, but you could get 2,800 on eBay, and that was October, and now it's 5,200. So this is why I tell Alyssa, yeah, you can get I gave it to her at like 30, 35, $40. It was probably 30. It was like 350 for a 10-ounce bar. I said, but hold it. I said, it'll go to 1,000. It'll go to 100. And it did. And now it's blown through that to 113. And you just see it going. So what I'm thinking is a probable solution, which is what I do with football, where I give you the score, and sometimes I actually hit the score perfectly, like in the Bear Ram game, 20-17. What you have here is I'm giving you the synopsis is based on that this is a paper price, not a physical price. And in the physical world, it's much, much more limited than the paper world. right? And keep in mind, they're not buying the options, they're taking physical. They want physical when they do the options, China, Russia, India, Saudi Arabia. So we're becoming more of a physical market, which there is nothing left, certainly a lot less than there is in the paper market. And people are starting to buy it. So you can see what's happening. And it's not, it's an educated guess, but I did call for $100 silver when everybody says, well, it's never been over 50. 50 is the all-time high. And I'm like, no, it isn't. That's the paper high, but it's not the physical high. We don't know what that is, but it's a hell of a lot higher than $50. And so once we broke 50, we go to 100. And once we break 100, on our way to 200, on our way to on our way to 1,000. I mean, it's just the way they make it. It's just kind of you gotta climb up the stairs to get to the top, right? You got to get to the top of the mountain. You're climbing the mountain, and that's what we're doing now. But there's no reason. There's too much demand, and there's no supply. So if you understand anything about Austrian economics or just free markets in general, if it's very much in demand and very little in supply, the price goes up. So that's what we got in gold and silver. And as I said yesterday, oh, I like your shirt. Yeah, okay, Columbia, make another 100 of these green shirts because people like them. We can sell them. But in gold and silver, you can't make anymore. You cannot print or counterfeit this. This is only dug out of the ground and went to the mine, and what do you call it? I always have an issue with the they clean it up, uh, and that's the thing. So then it comes out nice and pretty in a coin or a bar or jewelry. Well, it comes out as a bar, and then they make the jewelry out of it. But I mean, refine it. I always have struggle with refining. I always want to call it something else. Anyway, so that's the only way you can get it. You got to dig it out of the ground and refine it. And now you got China, Russia, and India going right to the mines buying it. I'll take all your silver that's in your mine. And they go and they take it. China does it in China. Everybody else goes to Switzerland and they refine it into coins and bars. So they're going right to the mine, but you can't print it, and you can't do anything with it, right? There's no printing. There's no counterfeiting it. I can't fake it. I can't use nickel and make it into silver. I can only take silver and make it into silver. And then they find silver so good in these electronics and other issues, other things they make, that there's no substitute for it. So they need it. So that even increases the demand more. So let's talk about this gold silver ratio. It's a one-sided argument. In other words, when they talk about it, they go, well, it comes out of the ground at 10 to 1 or 15 to 1 or whatever. That's supply, right? So the supply that comes out of the ground, there's more silver than gold. Okay, nobody's going to argue that. My argument is it's the demand side that I'm looking at. So the fact that gold's 52.75 and silver's 113, and you can divide it out, is irrelevant. Gold was let loose when it became tier 3 and you had to deliver, but silver wasn't. So silver was still repressed and still not able to go as gold did. So gold went from 2,000 to 4,000 once it was Basel III, but silver wasn't. So silver never ran. So looking at this ratio doesn't mean anything. It's really a stupid analysis. It's sort of like looking at the New England Patriots after Tom Brady left and saying, "Oh, they're a good road dog." Well, no, there's a Tom Brady trend, and then there's after Tom Brady trend, and you can't put them together. And it's the same thing here. It's irrelevant what this ratio is. It doesn't mean anything. Gold was able to run higher, and silver wasn't. Now silver, I don't know if they're Basel III yet. They should be, but even if they're not, the demand between all the companies needing it to make their goods and us needing it to get out of the dollar, and gold's a little bit expensive. Now, this ratio doesn't factor in the demand. So we know there's a lot of demand for gold because BRICS is coming out with a gold-backed currency, which is why gold's running up right now. they want a higher gold value to do gold back currency because they need to make more. But you can only make as much gold as you have, right? If you only have $1 billion worth of gold, you can only make $1 billion. But if the value of the gold goes from 2,000 to 10,000, now I can make more dollars, which is what they need, right? So what we're running into is, yes, the supply, there's more silver than gold. However, is there more demand for silver or for gold? And that's where I'm throwing the wrench in the monkey, or the monkey wrench into the monkey. I'm throwing it in because there is no relevance of that ratio. It's totally meaningless. It's based on how much demand there is for silver. And if there's more demand for silver than there is for gold, then this goes to gold being 5-to-1 to silver. Gold doesn't have to be more valuable. It is, because of the gold standard, and gold's indestructible. But with the demand for silver, and as gold gets more and more expensive, and we have it right here in class, people go, gosh darn it, I can't afford it. I can't afford to go buy silver. I hope my internet's not fucked again. So that's the key, right? We're looking at it like that the demand, if the demand's more for silver, certainly the price will be more attractive to buy silver than gold. You should buy gold, obviously. Now, if you got 500,000, I would buy probably 80-90% gold and 10% silver. If you've got gold, I got my 100 tons. If you're a normal guy like us, I've got my 100 tons. So now I'm going to start concentrating on silver. People joining the party, it's going to cost you almost 5,500 for an ounce of gold. People still haven't woken up to the fact it's still low. This is a very low value for gold. They just haven't seen it. They're used to, well, it didn't hit 2,000. It used to be $200 or 300. And now they're seeing it at 5,000. Well, it can't go any higher. It can't go any higher. I'm not going to buy it. It'll probably go down. They don't get it. It's not going down. It's just going to keep going up because everybody needs it. The dollars are all worthless in every country in the world, and gold is much higher. Gold just keeps running and running and running, and that's what you want to be in. So the demand's going to keep the price going. Now, with that said, well, it's going to cost me 5,500 for an ounce of gold or 113 for an ounce of silver. So you're going to get more silver buyers. And silver should get very close to gold from a money standpoint. From people getting out of the dollar for safety, they're going to buy silver, right? Maybe they buy a couple ounces of gold and 100 ounces, 2 ounces of gold's 10 grand. And then I can buy $5,000 worth of silver, and silver's cheap. So silver should keep running because of the two, I can afford silver or more silver. So that's the first point, right? That's what's going to happen. Hey, Johnsy. So that's what's going to happen. And so silver's going to run because it's cheaper. It's like two steaks. There's a New York and a strip. Or a powder house, a porterhouse. So there's a porterhouse. So gold's the porterhouse and silver's the New York strip. Do you care which one you have? No, they're both good steaks. I don't care which one I have. And so therefore, I go by price. Oh, this one's cheaper. I'll buy that one. And I think that's what you're going to find. And there's going to be a ton of people who realize the Titanic sinking who are going to jump into silver, which blows up this ratio because right now, it's 52.75 and 113, but this just has a lot of room for silver to run. So silver will get up to the 52.75, but by then gold will be 10,000. Silver will chase gold. It won't catch it, but it'll chase it. Now, if they're even, you probably buy the gold over the silver because it's indestructible. But if it's close, you probably buy the cheaper one because they're both money and they're both, like I said, all the industrial people will be buying a lot of silver because they figure, well, the price is going to go up. It's like hyperinflation. I better go buy 10 cans of tuna now at $2 before it goes to $4, or milk or cereal or bread or whatever it is you want to eat. You realize the price is going up, so you go buy more. So if I was to buy silver now, it'd be cost me 113. I would certainly go buy as much as I could. Now, being the prophet I am, I've already foreseen this and bought it in 2021. I already knew this was going to happen, and I bought it for most of mine probably $22, $25 an ounce. A little bit, like I said, I bought these. These came in later, and these were, I think, 30 an ounce. And again, I got all confused because they were 2 ounces, and so I had to pay 60. So I'm going, oh, I got 10 ounces. That's $300. No. It's $600 because these are 2 ounces. And I got some 5 ounce bars and 10 ounce bars. I think you need to get 1 ounces first, and then you can get these 2 ounces. They're very pretty. And then I would go after a 5 or 10 ounce bar because the 10 ounce bar, you're selling all 10, right? You're selling the bar. Boom, there goes 10 ounces. Now, on one hand, it's good. You get more money. On the other hand, it's bad. Maybe I only want to sell 3 ounces right now at 113. And then I have 7 ounces, which I'll sell at 213. I do need some money. So that's the only problem with the bar. Make sure you have 1 ounces first. And it doesn't matter rounds or the Eagles. And again, you won't get 1099 unless you sell 1,000 of them. And why would you sell 1,000 at a time? Even if you needed 1,000, I would sell 100 here and wait 2 or 3 weeks and sell another 100. If you have a bill coming up, spread it out, do what you can. So that's why this gold silver ratio is meaningless, because they're only looking at the supply side of it. If there's more demand for silver than there is for gold, which it's kind of tough. It's close because all the banks are buying as much gold bars as they can, right? Me and you are buying the gold ounces, not the gold bars, but they're buying as many as they can. And the banks have money, so they can afford it, and they'd rather buy that. Where silver, it's industrial, so what are they buying? A ton or two? Where China owns 80,000 tons of gold. It's probably up to 90,000 by now. And Russia 20,000. So you can see they're buying a lot of bars, but not as much silver. But silver, the industrial use is creating, but it's not as much. They might buy 2 tons, not 50 tons like China does or Russia. So you have that. So silver will catch up because it's cheaper, and they're both pretty much the same. It's to get out of the dollar, you go into real money, and they're both real money. I don't care. Anyways, that's silver's money. I don't know why they don't think it is. It certainly is. So, it's like if you want to buy uranium, let's say they had uranium coins or platinum coins. Platinum's not money, but you have a platinum coin and the platinum's worth so much, that's what it is. So that's where you're at. I just don't see silver staying this low much longer. I think you see $1,000, $2,000 silver based on the demand and based on the frenzy we're starting to get. Every time, even if they try to lower the silver, it just jumps right back. We're at the 113. We blew through 100, and we're going to blow through the hundreds now. So we blew, through 70, 80, 90, got to 100, blew through that, 110, on our way to 120 now, and it's just going to keep going. All the bullion banks and COMEX are now long for gold. So they all want the price to go up. And they're the ones who've been shorting it, lowering the price. Well, if they're all long and want the price higher, then who's going to lower it? Nobody. Nobody's lowering it. Everybody wants a higher silver price. I laugh when I see these people going, oh, well, the silver price is, it's too high. It's coming down. Based on what? Well, I don't know, but it seems high. Well, because it's finally a physical price, not a paper price. And then what was I just what was my thought? Um, anyway, uh, the frenzy will start because people will see it at 113, seeing it seems stable now. It broke 100. It didn't go back to 90. It didn't go back to 80. Yeah, I remember when it hit 15, it went back to 6. Yeah, I remember that. I don't want to get burned by it. But I think as it keeps going and it's 113 now and it hits 120, people will start believing, no, 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 this is going up. The train is going. We're on board and it's moving now. And I think people will start trusting it more that it's not going to go back to $6 an ounce, which it never will. And the same thing with gold. It flew from 2000. Oh, it's going to go back. 3000. Yeah, it'll back to 2000. Wait a minute, it's 4000. Wait a minute, now we're 5000 and going over 5000. We're almost at 5300. And now people will start going, I can trust it. And now they'll start in on it where they will keep buying it. And why do you trust Bitcoin? Bitcoin went to 120, went down to 80, but you still trust Bitcoin because you think, well, we're out of the government and I trust it. And it's limited to 21 million, even though it's not real. So you've seen silver go to 15 down to 6. So you don't trust it. Till some point, you do trust it. Uh, we don't trust Sam Darnold, but all of us, I don't know, last year, the guy stinks. He chokes in a big game. Jared Goff chokes in a big game. We don't trust Goff, but we are starting to trust Darnold. So Darnold, okay, beating the Niners was nothing. It was mostly running. And they don't have a great defense. Beating the Rams showed you a lot of character. So hey, maybe we can trust him. So that's the difference. It's when can you trust? You got a girlfriend and she did something wrong and you don't trust her. But do you give her a second chance and let her prove it? That's up to you. I mean, maybe it was an accident or something. So you got to play it out. You got to see what's going on. At what point, but if everybody does what you think and then you trust them until they disprove it and then you don't trust it. So at this point, the trust for the silver at 113 should be strong. And the trust for the gold definitely is strong because it broke 2000 and it hasn't pulled back at all. It pulls back a little bit here and there. Those are just people shorting it because they didn't know what they were doing. These were guys watching the charts and going, oh, the chart's up. It's not this 50-day moving. Oh, I got to sell it. It's going to go down. Thinking it's a chart without understanding the reasons why it goes up and down, which is what these chart people don't understand. That's what I understand in football. Like I say, the Brady at New England. Now, as soon as he left, I understood that the New England chart was Brady. And as soon as he left, I can't use the Brady chart. He's on Tampa now. But I can't use the Tampa chart because that's without Brady. So now I need a Tampa chart with Brady, and I need a New England chart without. So I knew I needed to get out. I understood what the charts were telling me. And it was just personality. They're great. They're great dogs. Take Tom Brady whenever he's a dog. Take Mahomes whenever he's a dog. Take Stafford when he's the dog. Any of these really strong quarterbacks as a dog, it's very hard to stop them. And it doesn't mean Seattle doesn't have a good defense. It was just tough. And you can't use the Bear game because it was 0. And you had decent weather in Seattle. So that gets us to now the Super Bowl. We'll get back to gold and silver as we always do. So the Super Bowl, we got Seattle 4.5, 46. Now I got an email from somebody yesterday and talking about how quickly I made the decision, and he just doesn't get how I make the decision. This decision was made last week, right? Watching the games, seeing Drake May struggle against Denver, seeing that New England does have a fairly good defense, seeing Seattle, how good their defense is, and that Darnell didn't choke against the Rams. So Darnell's playing well. I think we can trust him to win the game. We certainly can't trust Drake May. He's done nothing. Um, so when we look at it all, we got New England an A team with a 13 defense, and they're 19-1 in a teaser. And we got Seattle an A team with a 16 defense, only because they played the Rams and New England didn't. New England hasn't played. The only quarterback they played was Josh Allen, and Josh Allen beat him 35-31. So their great 13 defense against Josh Allen, it was a 30 defense. So again, a lot of it is who they played. They played Houston with no offense, and Denver with the backup quarterback, and San Diego with no offense. So it basically was like they didn't play Josh Allen and Bo Nix, and we would have saw different outcomes. They didn't play Stafford, right? So with that said, we got again Seattle an 18 with a 16 defense, and Stafford they're 16-3 in a teaser this year. Seattle with an excellent defense. Again, they're not going to shut down Stafford. That's not going to happen. But they did shut down, let's see, well, the Niners twice, which didn't mean anything. And then they didn't really shut down Stafford 31-27, but we're not facing Stafford here. We're facing Drake May. So the thesis of the play is that Seattle should be able to score on New England. Decent defense, but what I like about Seattle is Walker, who's Michigan State, and I remember him against Michigan. He scored 4 touchdowns against Michigan, which is always tough to do. Kenneth Walker. So he was very good at Michigan State. So I got a chance to watch him a lot in college, because you'd see a lot of Michigan State games, and he was good. So you got a nice mix. Smith the Jimba, he's getting better. He came out, he was terrible. Now he's getting better. And you've got Kenneth Walker. So you got the 1-2 punch. New England with a pretty good defense, but they hadn't played anybody. They played, here they played the backup to Denver, and then they had played Houston with C.J. Stroud. So they didn't really play a good quarterback. Okay, so how really good are they? All I can do is go by the Buffalo 35-31 game. Now, I think Seattle scores, so I got it 30-10, because I think May, who struggled mightily against Denver, and it was cold there, so let's not kid ourselves. It was, it was probably 10 degrees there. But, against Houston, they got 21 on that defense. So that's pretty good. That's why I'm kind of lost. You can't take too much into the Denver game because it was cold, just like Stafford. But I just think Seattle has a great defense, and I think he's going to struggle like he struggled against Denver. I don't think the cold weather struggled him. He couldn't really complete passes, and he tried to run a little bit, and that's not going to get it done against Seattle. So Seattle is going to be beating the Rams. I thought that was the Super Bowl, right? Seattle and the Rams is the Super Bowl. New England is I still doubt. I don't trust Drake May. That's how I base my quarterbacks. Can I trust him? Can I make money on him? And I don't trust Drake May. He wants to run too much. I noticed that in the San Diego game. He tried to run too much. San Diego, probably a similar defense to Seattle. So that's why I'm giving him 10 points. Against Denver, they really only scored 3. That bullshit backward pass, which was not backward, which was thrown forward, gave them their only touchdown. They never drove for a touchdown, and they got 1 field goal. So they got 3 points. So again, taking that into consideration, I'm giving them 10 here. Yeah, they'll probably get a touchdown somehow, but not a lot against the Seattle's defense. Now, the weak point was Stafford throwing all over on him. Well, Drake May can't do that. He doesn't have the receivers, and he's not that good of a quarterback. He's more like, let me be a running quarterback, which, I don't know. In the AFC, well, I don't know who that would have been. Love doesn't run. Caleb, not a big runner. He scrambles. Hurts doesn't run. Purdy ran a little. and that's it. Stafford's more, I'm going to throw the ball all over, but that's not what Drake May is. That's how you beat Seattle, is kind of throwing it. But watching the two San Francisco games, they got 3-6. I think you're going to get that. They had Purdy and McCafferty. The first one they had Kittle, and they still couldn't score. So I think Seattle comes and plays the tough defense. New England, fairly good defense. Uh, so I'm leaning on the under in the game is the free play here. The under 46 goes under 52. That's really the play, but we got to play two in a teaser, right? So the 52, I think's probably the best play because they're not going to do much on Seattle's defense. Now the thesis of the bet is the defense. It's always the defense. Seattle with the strong defense, and New England with Drake May doesn't show a lot, right? I'm not afraid of him throwing for 40 points here. That's why I like the under, and that's why I like Seattle. I don't care about crossing zeros. But this is not like a quick pick. This is a pick that I've been looking at, studying all the teams last week, New England and Denver and that. Studying the teams, I've already looked at it, right? So now it comes in, okay, I studied the 4 teams last week, and it's a very quick pick because, well, I know what I'm getting. I know Seattle with the great defense is going to shut down Drake May, just like CJ Stroud, just like Caleb. When they run into really good defenses, they're not going to do anything. And that's kind of what I looked at. So Drake May's not going to do much in this game. Therefore, it's going to be low scoring. New England does have a fairly good defense, so I will look into that. What the fuck? Somebody called. They didn't even call me. I don't know what that is. So Drake May's not going to do much against the Seattle defense. So the thesis of the bet is Seattle's got such a good defense. Drake May's not going to do much. He'll try to run a little bit, I guess, which doesn't get you. It might get you a 10-yarder from your own 30-yard 40. When you get inside the 25 of the other team, you can't run. There's nowhere to run. There's too many people. So he has to throw, and he's not very good at it. And this isn't this isn't the Jets or Miami they're playing. New England's always had that advantage. The Jets have been so bad for so long, and Miami, that when it was Brady, he had 4 easy wins, and then Buffalo wasn't that good. And then when Buffalo got good and New England was bad, Buffalo had 6 easy wins. So it was always skewed when New England wasn't good. But it's always been the Jets and Miami have sucked. So it gives them 4 easy wins. And, well, look how good we are. We beat a shit Jets and team, Jets and Miami. But here it's simply, I'm looking at the quarterback, Darnell. Now he did show up against LA, and the Rams have a good defense. They struggle against Stafford. They struggle against the Lions. They struggle against what was the other, Carolina with Steve Young. So they did struggle their defense. So it wasn't surprising Darnell did what he thought, which is why the lock last week was over in the Seattle game. So that was what that's all about. But I don't have to study. Like in the first week of the year, especially in college, I'm studying everything. I got to look at all the box scores. It takes me days to go through all the box scores on all the games to figure out, is there a new quarterback I need to know? What's this team I didn't think would scored 50 points. Who did they play? And, you try to watch, the Ohio State games on, the Alabama games, and you watch the game and you go, okay, now I got the team. And that's what I mean by it. So once I've established, okay, Seattle, great defense, New England, good defense, it's going to limit the points. Okay, we go under. And then I don't see how Drake May is going to win the game against, no, not that we love Darnell and we are starting to trust him, because last year he was one and done. He lost to the Lions. They didn't get the 1 seed, and he lost to the Rams or the Eagles. I think the Rams, and that was it. You go, oh, okay, well, he stuck. And it probably wasn't him. Here, the difference is he's got Kenneth Walker. And the difference is why I like Seattle to win is Kenneth Walker running. And then you can hit Smith Najimba and these other guys. So all of a sudden, you have a balanced team, decent quarterback, but they're not letting him choke because they're running the ball more. So if they're running the ball more and there's less choking, then that's what you see happening. So it's not really Darnell choking or not. It's give the ball to Kenneth Walker and hit Smith Najimba, and that's what he's doing. So he didn't choke against the Niners either game, and then he didn't choke against the Rams. So he's starting to actually do something different, but I think a lot of it is Kenneth Walker. Oh, I can hand off the ball. I couldn't do that at Minnesota last year. And the Lions kept blitzing him in that number 1 seed game, and he fell apart. So you're not seeing as much because if they line up, he probably hands the ball to Walker, and that alleviates him. Plus, he's got the killer defense, which he had at Minnesota. So we will see, but I'm going 30-10. It's a quick decision only that I already know. This bet's based on mostly Kenneth Walker and the Seattle defense. New England not really has a running attack, didn't show anything against Denver. Got 5 picks from Houston, which I would like to think you're not going to get against Seattle here, but that's the difference. They scored on, they had a hard time against Houston except for the pick 6 and a few other turnovers that they had the ball down there. So that was impressive against Houston putting up 21. But Houston scored 16 on them. So Seattle is going to score on New England. Their defense, like I said, that I'm going to the Buffalo game, 35-31. Okay. Smith and Jimo, Walker. Okay. How much do we trust Darnell? A little bit more because he actually won a 1 seed game and a playoff game. Okay. Good defense. Okay. Better okay. Better running back than in Minnesota. Better coaching. Okay. So we'll take Seattle. He's starting to prove he can do it. Are we 100% certain? No, but we're pretty confident. We need a second team in the teaser. We love the under game because of Seattle's defense, right? Drake May's not going to put up a lot of points. 16 on San Diego, and then they put up 21 on Houston, which was amazing, and then 3 last week. So not a lot, and these are good defenses. Seattle is a better defense than Denver. So that's how I look at it. Seattle will win the game because of their defense and because of Kenneth Walker and Smith Najimba, and Darnell will kind of get out of the way, but allow that to happen. And New England plays tough defense too. I think it'll be defensive struggle at first. And then Drake May will turn it over a few times. He did against Houston, and he did last week against Denver. And then you get into the game, and at the end of the day, I think Seattle's just too much. Beating the Niners and beating the Rams versus beating Denver with the backup quarterback and Houston with C.J. Stroud and San Diego with Herbert, you really didn't beat anybody. Okay, I'll give you credit for beating Houston, but C.J. Stroud has his head up his ass, not understanding anything about football, that you're playing a team. You have the best defense in the league, and you're throwing the ball, and you're turning it over with the best defense. All you should have done is run that game. Now, New England showed a pretty good run defense. So this might be closer than 30-10. It might be 23-10. I don't see New England much more than 10, if 10. And I think Seattle gets there. Darnell hopefully doesn't turn it over too many times. He will turn it over, but Kenneth Walker will score a few, and the defense will score. And I think these Super Bowl games tend to get a little bit, as they get rolling. But loving the under very much in it. All right. But again, this is not when I say, the email took me back a little bit like, oh, you knew in 30 seconds. And I'm like, well, no, I every week I studied the Rams Carolina. So when I got to the Rams Bears, I knew what I was doing. I was going over, but the cold weather changed my mind. And then when I got Rams Seattle, I didn't hesitate to go over because I knew they played a 70-point game earlier, and you're not stopping Stafford. So that was easy. So that's what I mean by studying it. At the end of the day, Seattle will win, and it should be low scoring because both teams have really good defenses. And took me about 2 minutes. I actually picked the over under 46, and I had Seattle 7, which is what I think it should be. So again, I have no problem going over 0, going from 4 to +2 or 4.5 to 1.5. I don't even care. It's just I don't have to lay 4.5. Maybe they win by a field goal, but I don't have to lay 4.5 is the key thesis here. I get 1.5. It's fine. I don't need it. I just need not to lay the 4.5. Laying 4.5 would be a little tricky, but getting 1.5 makes it so much easier. And the 46 goes under 52. That will never get there, not with these defenses. So that's how I pick. The defense is the key, then the coach, then the quarterback. Again, if it's Bo Nix, Denver wins easy last week, and we'd have a great Super Bowl. Denver and Seattle, I would be on the dog, and I'd probably be under, but not Drake May. Bo Nix is a lot better than Drake May. I don't know where people get Drake May for MVP. What are you talking about, Drake May for the MVP? In what world is Drake May the best player, the most valuable player in the league? Are you kidding me? Did you not watch Stafford? Even Caleb. Well, Caleb's not there, but you got to be kidding. Jalen Carter. Baker Mayfield's better than Drake May. I just don't get it. So these people get on it, and then everybody, and it's like we're talking about with idiots, where people say something and everybody, the group goes, yeah, anybody can throw anything out. Yeah, today's Thursday. Oh, yeah, today is Thursday. No, today's thing. It isn't. But why am I having internet issues? Like I said, the second one yesterday, I didn't have any internet issues. But I think I'm okay. Am I okay? Am I okay? I think I am. So if it's a brief one, I think I'm okay. Let's take a quick listen to Egan.
We haven't really started yet this move that I'm seeing we haven't really started yet this move that I'm seeing in the coming years, because nobody owns gold today. It's still only about 0.5% of world financial assets in gold. That's going to change. Central banks are now shifting relatively fast, but mainly Eastern and Southern central banks, not Western central banks. They're shifting their dollar assets because they can't trust the dollar anymore since the US confiscated the Russian assets. And therefore, they're shifting from dollar assets, dollar treasuries, to gold. And that shift is going to take a few years. They're not going to rush it, but that will create a constant demand for gold. We haven't really started yet this move.
Well, one thing people, they saw that they confiscated the Russian, but really they should know the dollar's worthless. I mean, it's not hard. If you understand Austrian economics, you understand if you keep printing it, it loses its value. Too much of anything loses its value. And that's the whole point, right? So that's why they're getting out of the dollar and into gold. That's why they're dumping the treasuries into gold. They realize the value's down. Now, yes, they did confiscate the Russian dollars. So therefore, by compensating it, they're scared they're going to compensate theirs also as another reason to get out of dollar. Now, the one thing he kind of doesn't understand is when he says, well, gosh darn it, they aren't, what does he say? The people owning gold. Well, it's only 0.5% of the portfolio, whatever. Well, because the portfolio is being inflated, the values are much higher. So of course the gold is going to be 0.5% because what you're using is growing and more and higher and higher and higher. And so the 0.5% of gold isn't really, maybe it's 2 or 3% from what it was in 1980. But as the stocks keep going up and the value of the dollar keeps going down, but making it everybody's a billionaire, then it makes it where you're just not you're not seeing the value of the percentage of gold go up. But it is, and I don't buy. Maybe this is all central bank buying. I think there's a lot of BRICS and a lot of countries joining BRICS to get out of the dollar. But you don't really see me buying it right now. I'm not buying a ton. I wish, but yeah, like I said, if everybody in class bought 10 ounces of gold, it wouldn't move it an inch. The only thing that moves it is these options, right? That's what moves it. So anyway, I think I'm still on. That's good. So there's this one I want to show you on idiots. So this is a pretty good one. First, I'm going to show you the slow motion, immaculate reception from 5 different views. So my Oakland friends, bear with me, but I won money on this play, so I'm happy. I had Pitt -1, I think. Oakland takes the lead, and I didn't tease it. This is another reason I tease everything. And then I get the miracle to win it, which took a half hour to figure out if it was a touchdown. So this is immaculate reception from every view in slow motion. So if Jack Tatum did the same thing, we wouldn't have this discussion. So real quickly, Frenchie Fuqua is the one at the bottom of the screen at the 50-yard line. And so I don't know where Bradshaw's throwing because he hasn't even come out of his break yet. But that's Frenchie Fuqua right at the bottom.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
I'm doing good. How are you, bro?
Wait, you can speak Spanish? No way.
Someone criticizes you, your work, your idea.
Sorry about that. So Frenchie Fuqua's at the bottom there. He's the closest to the sideline at the 46. So he's got to curl all the way over there and watch Bradshaw throw it. You're like, who the fuck's he throwing to? Jack Tatum's an idiot because Jack Tatum, he didn't have to do it. If he just lets the ball go, the Raiders win. I mean, what was he thinking? I don't know. So Frenchie Fuqua curl now. Bradshaw's throwing it. Frenchie Fuqua. So now he starts moving into the middle. And there's Tatum right at the 45. What's Tatum doing? This is the same, just a different look. That's Franco Harris blocking. He's not even in the pattern. He's right there, Franco Harris. Now he decides to start running. There he is now at the 50. No, sorry to interrupt. So from that angle, there's no way Frenchie Fuqua touched the ball. It clearly hit Jack Tatum, and it clearly bounced away because Fuqua's coming from the sideline in. There's no way he's going to touch the ball and it's going to go back that way. Only Jack Tatum hit it, and you could see. I don't even think Fuqua was there. I don't know what Bradshaw was throwing to, but Fuqua did get close to it. I don't know what Jack Tatum was thinking. Just let the ball go or catch the ball. But why is he trying to hammer Fuqua? Think you win the game if you just let him catch the ball, or if you just get out of the way, just knock it down like he did the play before. That was him knocking it from the tight end. He just batted it down. Why didn't he just bat it down? Is this scripted? No, there's no way this is scripted. But you can see Franco Harris is in the backfield at the beginning of the play, just starts running out. He runs like 20 yards very quickly. Bradshaw actually should have thrown to him, but then he wouldn't have got the touchdown. It was the only way you get the touchdown is to throw the way he did, but this is crazy. There's Franco at the 50. There, it definitely hits off of Tatum. This angle, you can see if the ball hits the ground or not. And there it hits Tatum's left hand. And now watch how Franco catches it. I think this play you'll see Franco catch it. The ball didn't hit the ground. He caught it off the ground. So I think it's pretty clear. It's a strange play because Fuqua is on the left sideline and he throws the ball into the middle, and Fuqua is late getting there. Tatum sort of just knocked the ball down, and Franco Harris is in the pocket for half the play. He's blocking, and then he finally runs out. And now they had the ball at the 40, so it really wasn't much for him to get to the 50. And then I think he catches it at like the 45. It looked like a clean catch. It didn't hit the ground. And it looked like it hit Tatum from some of the angles where Fuqua's running across and Tatum's there. And obviously it hits Tatum and goes backwards. If it hit Fuqua, it would have went to the side because he was coming from. So if I'm coming this way and it hits, the ball would have went that way, right? Like, because he's coming, here's the ball, and he's coming this way. If he did, he would have deflected the ball and the ball would have went this way. It would never have come this way. With Tatum coming this way, hits the ball and the ball ricochets backwards. It could never ricochet backwards from Frenchie Fuqua. So it's clearly Tatum hitting it. What was Bradshaw doing? Throwing it, yet the guy got there. So it worked, but I don't know. There's a thing I want to show you on how smart people become stupid. Okay, this has a lot to do with the Nazis, but I think it's a very good explanation of what happens when the masses or groups. This is why, like, I'm not really in a group. I'm an independent. We have this little football group in here, but basically, I kind of stay away from groups because I'm an individual, independent thinker. I just I don't know how to talk to people in individuals if I'm not talking about gold or football or poker or what's going on. It makes it I don't know the person. So if I'm in a large group, I don't know all the people. I don't know what to talk to them about because I don't know what they like and what they're into and what are their interests. That's why with here, it's a no-brainer. All right, so let's look at this. This is on stupidity. We've been talking about stupidity. Now, it's not what we mean. When I call people idiots, it's what they're calling them. It's how people just don't know what they're doing and they're going along with the crowd instead of being independent if somebody tells them. But this is a very good video. I think this is the one. Yeah.
You have probably noticed it by now. The smarter you get, the more alone you feel. You try to explain something that seems obvious to you, backed by facts, evidence, logic, and you watch people's eyes glaze over. Or worse, they get angry, defensive, like you have insulted them just by thinking clearly. And here's the part that messes with your head. It's not that they don't understand what you're saying, it's that they can't afford to understand it. Because understanding would force them to admit something about themselves, about the world, about the lies they have been living inside. And instead of facing that discomfort, they choose something easier. They choose stupidity. Now, most people think stupidity is about being dumb, low IQ, bad education. But what if I told you that's completely wrong? What if stupidity is not a lack of intelligence, but a surrender of it? And what if one man, a theologian executed by the Nazis just weeks before the war ended, figured out exactly how this happens, why it's more dangerous than evil itself, and why you will never convince someone once they have crossed that line? His name was Dietrich Bonhoeffer, and this is the theory you were never meant to hear. December 1942. Germany is at war. The Nazi regime is at its peak. Millions are dying. And Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a brilliant theologian, a pastor, a double agent working inside German military intelligence, sits down to write a letter, not to the public, not to history, to 3 close friends, fellow conspirators, men who were risking their lives to kill Adolf Hitler. It's Christmas, and Bonhoeffer knows he might not survive, so he writes them a reflection, a confession, a warning. He calls it After 10 Years. And buried inside this letter is one of the most brutal psychological observations ever written. He's watching his own country, educated, sophisticated, cultured Germany, fall into madness. And he's trying to answer one question. How did this happen? Not to uneducated peasants, not to people who did not know better, to professors, doctors, engineers, people with advanced degrees. How do intelligent people become instruments of evil? And his answer is terrifying, because he does not blame ignorance. He does not blame the cruelty. He blames something far more insidious. He calls it stupidity, but not the kind you think. Listen to what Bonhoeffer actually wrote. He said this: "Stupidity is a more dangerous enemy of the good than malice." Read that again. More dangerous than malice. Why? Because you can fight evil. You can expose it. You can resist it. Evil makes people uncomfortable. It leaves a trace, a guilty conscience, a crack you can exploit. But stupidity? Against stupidity we are defenseless, Bonhoeffer writes. Neither protests nor the use of force accomplish anything here. Why? Because the stupid person doesn't care about your facts. You bring them evidence, and they dismiss it. You show them contradictions in their beliefs, and they get more entrenched. You prove them wrong with irrefutable data, and they call it irrelevant. Bonhoeffer writes, facts that contradict one's prejudgment simply need not be believed, and when facts are irrefutable, they are just pushed aside as inconsequential.
So what do we have when we try to talk gold and silver to people who are in the stock market or in gold, Bitcoin, or in anything? Right? We can show them gold and silver, which we know is exactly what we should be in, and they ignore us. They don't listen to us. And this is exactly what we run into. This is a very interesting topic I ran into here. Even if you prove them wrong, hey, the dollars, you print a lot of it, it's worthless. Even if you say that, in their mind, they don't believe it because they would have to then be wrong. I'm in my 401k, and then, so you're proving them wrong, and they don't want to hear it. And this is the problem we have. Now, occasionally we get people in here who start understanding it. I'm telling you, gold's going up at 1,700. It's going to go to 3,000, and it goes. And then, well, no, it's going to 5, and now it's at 5, and now it's close to 5,300, and by tonight it could be 5,500. But we know what's going on, but we're not glazed over by, oh no, I'm in Bitcoin. Like the Bitcoiners, these people are out of their minds. I'm in Bitcoin. Well, what is it? Well, I don't know. Why are you in it? Because it's going to go to 1 million. Okay, so let's say it does. You're in dollars. The dollars are worthless. 1 million pieces of zero are zero. We're in gold. We're buying it, and buying it, and buying it. Now it's starting to go, and it's just starting to go. This is nothing. This is, you're going to see $10,000 gold, and you're going to go, I wish I'd have bought it at 3,000 or 4,000. You're going to see $1,000 silver, and you're going to go, fuck, I wish I'd have bought it at 25. And that's the problem. I mean, that's where it's going, and we know it's going there. And Bitcoin, well, it's going to 1 million. Why? Well, I don't know, but it is. And then our defense is, ours is limited, and it doesn't need to be priced in dollars. Gold and silver is what everybody's in. All the BRICS countries are gold-backed currency, gold-backed trading for oil, trading for whatever, and everybody's trading in BRICS, and they're fine, but they all have gold-backed currency, and they don't want Bitcoin. China just said no more Bitcoin. They've made it illegal because they don't want to get paid by the U.S. in Bitcoin for their debt. They want to get paid in dollars, and then they'll turn it into gold. But this is very interesting. Even if we're right and we can present, this is Canadian Club 12, even though I can show them it's Canadian Club 12 years old, they can say, well, that's not real whiskey. And it's not really 12 years old. And it's not really Canadian Club. Even though you show it to them, they won't believe it because it's to them, it means they're wrong and they can't handle them being wrong. All right, we'll get back to this.
Sound familiar? Now here's the twist. Bonhoeffer makes it clear, stupidity has nothing to do with intelligence. He writes, there are human beings who are of remarkably agile intellect yet stupid, and others who are intellectually quite dull yet anything but stupid. So, what is it then? What's the difference? Bonhoeffer's answer is chilling. He says stupidity is not a lack of brain power.
It's a surrender of independence. Under certain circumstances, he writes, people are made stupid, or they allow this to happen to them. Made stupid, not born stupid, made stupid. And here's the mechanism. When a powerful force rises, political, religious, social, it offers people something irresistible: certainty, belonging, identity, purpose. But there's a cost. To join, you have to stop thinking for yourself. Bonhoeffer writes, under the overwhelming impact of rising power, humans are deprived of their inner independence and more or less consciously give up establishing an autonomous position. They stop asking questions. They stop weighing evidence. They stop being individuals. And here's the scariest part. In conversation with him, Bonhoeffer says, one virtually feels that one is dealing not at all with a person, but with slogans, catchwords, and the like that have taken possession of him. You're not talking to them anymore. You're talking to the ideology that's colonized their brain. They've become a vessel, a repeater, a tool. And the worst part? Having thus become a mindless tool, the stupid person will also be capable of any evil, and at the same time, incapable of seeing that it is evil. They can commit atrocities and feel righteous doing it because they're no longer thinking, they're obeying.
Think Verizon, the best 5G network, is expensive? Think again. Bring in your AT&T or T-Mobile bill to a Verizon store.
Thinking, they're obeying.
And that's what Hitler was. So the mass of the Germans, it was all them thinking and basically brainwashing everybody into being part of it. It's for Germany. What did he say? Oh, we lost World War I, and this is revenge, and the whole thing. And it was like, it'll be a greater Germany. But the individual's gone. Like when they start talking country, oh, we did it for the U.S. and national security and all. That's all bullshit. We're a bunch of individuals who think for themselves and do what we want to do, what's best for us. And that's how it should be. You're an individual. But yet when they start talking, oh, it's for the greater good of Germany or the greater good of the US, or pick any country, the greater good of, then it becomes you're part of the nation, not an individual. You're part of the team, not the individual. This is why it's hard in the Army. This is why it's hard on a football team. That's why it's a little easier in baseball. You're still an individual. You're part of the team, but you got to hit and field. In football, you're part of the team. You got to do what's best for the team. And it's hard for people because we're not part of the team. We're individuals. I do what's best for me. That's why I think I like golf so much. It's individual. You're not relying on the other people. So you can say that's why I think I like poker and football. I'm doing. If I'm successful, I win, and if I'm an idiot, I lose. But if you are playing, if you're part of the whole realm, if you're, playing other things where there's depending on the individuals, it doesn't work as well. So I mean, that's why I think I like the gambling and the golf and the the football and handicapping the football is me. That's why I don't like statistics. They don't work. The algorithms and the AI doesn't work. But then I'm not picking the game. This is why I have much force when people come to me with formulas and AI. I'm picking the winner on my own. I've developed my theories. And by using AI, you're not developing your theory. There's no thesis that you're coming up with that makes you figure out the winner. You're listening to somebody else. I'm figuring it out. I'm problem solving every game. That's why I'm so good at it. I'm looking at it and I figure out the variables. Oh, Seattle's defense. And I'm the one choosing. I'm the one playing poker. And I'm figuring it out. I'm problem solving everything. That's how you get better at it. But if you just listen to an AI, you're not putting any thought into it at all. Why even bet it? You're going to bet based on AI. What the fun? What's the fun of that? So when you win, well, you didn't pick the winner. AI did. When I win, I picked the winner. I had the Rams. I had the Rams over. That was my pick. I figured it out. Even going against Seattle's defense, it was very easy. Here, going against Seattle's defense, but now it's not Stafford, it's May. That's the key. I figured that out. That's how I'm betting it. But that's the key. So in like Germany with the Nazis, it was you're all Germans. We need all of you in the war effort for independence, whatever it is. And Hitler's pulling the strings and he's scaring the shit out of them with the Gestapo and everything else. And it's also he can steal gold from other countries, which he doesn't say, but that's what it was all about.
So now you understand why your arguments don't work. You think you're talking to a person, but you're actually talking to a system. A mental framework that filters out anything that threatens its stability. Bonhoeffer explains it perfectly. The stupid person is often stubborn, but he is not independent. Stubbornness looks like strength, like conviction. But it's the opposite. It's fragility disguised as certainty. Because deep down, they know. If they let one doubt in, the whole structure collapses. So they double down, they attack, they deflect. Not because you're wrong, but because you're right. And that's unbearable. This is why Bonhoeffer says, never again will we try to persuade the stupid person with reasons, for it is senseless and dangerous. Dangerous, because when you challenge their belief system, you're not just disagreeing, you're threatening their identity. And people will fight to the death to protect that. Now here's where it gets even darker. Bonhoeffer noticed something crucial. People who have isolated themselves from others or who live in solitude manifest this defect less frequently than individuals or groups of people inclined or condemned to sociability. Translation: stupidity is a group phenomenon. The more you need to belong, the more vulnerable you are. It would seem that stupidity is perhaps less a psychological than a sociological problem, he writes. And then he drops the bombshell. Every strong upsurge of power in the public sphere, be it of a political or of a religious nature, infects a large part of humankind with stupidity. It's almost a law of nature. The power of the one needs the stupidity of the other. Think about that. Every authoritarian regime, every cult, every mass movement, they don't succeed because people are dumb. They succeed because people surrender their intelligence and belonging. And once that trade is made, you can't reason them out of it because they didn't reason themselves into it. So what's the solution? Bonhoeffer is brutally honest. Only an act of liberation, not instruction, can overcome stupidity. You can't teach someone out of it. You can't debate them out of it. They have to be freed from it. And here's the tragic part. In most cases, a genuine internal liberation becomes possible only when external liberation has preceded it. Meaning what? The external power structure has to collapse first. The regime has to fall. The leader has to die. The movement has to crumble. Then, and only then, can people wake up. Until that happens, we must abandon all attempts to convince the stupid person. It's not cynicism. It's survival.
Hello, my name is Carrie Barker. I'm 54 years
Person. It's not cynicism. It's survival. Bonhoeffer wrote this letter in December 1942. 4 months later, he was arrested. 2 years later, on April 9th, 1945, he was hanged, just weeks before Germany surrendered. He never lived to see the liberation he wrote about, but his words survived, and they're more relevant now than ever, because we're living in an age of manufactured stupidity, algorithms that reward certainty over curiosity, echo chambers that punish doubt, ideologies, left, right, religious, secular, that demand total loyalty in exchange for belonging. And millions of people, smart people, educated people, are making the same trade Bonhoeffer warned about. They're surrendering their independence, becoming vessels for slogans, repeating ideas they never questioned, and attacking anyone who dares to think clearly. So, here's the hard truth. If you've been wondering why it feels so lonely to think for yourself, this is why. You're not broken. You're just refusing to make the trade. You're keeping your independence. And in a world addicted to certainty, that makes you dangerous. But it also makes you free. Bonhoeffer's final words on the subject were these: the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. Meaning what? That real intelligence isn't about having all the answers. It's about staying humble enough to keep questioning, brave enough to stand alone, and strong enough to resist the comfort of stupidity. That's the theory. And now you know why they never wanted you to hear it.
So it's called Why Intelligence People Become Stupid. Whoever this CIFO's official is, I don't know. But this is the point why it's so hard for us to explain gold and silver from people who are part of the Bitcoin group or part of the 401k group who can't think for themselves. So they become part of this group. I'm in Bitcoin. They're all proud of it. Like it's a religion. Oh, I'm in Bitcoin. Yeah, oh, great. I'm not. As an independent thinker, I said, what's it backed by? And they said nothing. And I said, well, why would you buy it? Now, the fact it went up is totally talk about a fixed game. That's about as fixed as you can get. That price didn't jump because of demand. The demand for Bitcoin jumped the price. And if so, that might, and nobody's profit taking. So it's a beautiful Ponzi scheme that the Bitcoiners are playing because they're saying, what do they say? Oh, don't sell, don't get out, just stay in it. You know, you don't want to, it's going to go to 1 million. That keeps you in because you're in it to make money. And, but what do you, okay, A, the money's worthless, so you're making nothing. B, why is it going up? I don't know, but it is. So that's a collective group going, well, I'm in Bitcoin, it's going to go up. And it went up to 120, but I don't know when to get out. And I keep being told it's just going to keep going up and up and up. It's going to go to 1 million. Okay, and then what are you going to do? You're going to sell it at 1 million? What if it only goes to 120 and goes back to 80? Are you going to sell it at 80? Or see, so these people are all brainwashed into thinking Bitcoin's just going to keep going up. Now, the difference is with gold and silver, we've analyzed it. And our thesis is it's very limited. It can't be inflated by, there's no paper gold. It's not physical. You can't just make this. It has to be real silver, real gold. So since it has to be, we're saying, hey, there's strong demand and the supply is limited. That's why the price is going up. Perfect. We have a thesis. We go, that's why. But when you're in Bitcoin, is the demand high? Well, nobody uses Bitcoin. It's not like the companies with steel use it. Well, you know, it's going to keep going up. Well, is there a demand for Bitcoin? I don't know. It's a collectible, basically. It's not used. It's not money. It's not digital gold. I love when somebody calls it digital gold. Well, but it's not. It's like digital silver. That means nothing to me. It means it's not real. This is the only silver and gold is physical, a coin. This is physical. Okay, it's going to go up because of demand and because it's short supply and you can't inflate it. Bitcoin isn't even real. There is, who knows what the demand is? The demand is so I can buy it because it's going to go up. That's the demand. That's not why I'm buying gold and silver. I'm buying gold and silver to get out of the dollar. You've printed too many dollars. So if you're in Bitcoin because you don't want to be in the dollar, you should have been in gold and silver. So this is the problem. So it's like a Bitcoin club or a digital. I'm cool. I'm in digital. It's digital gold, but nobody takes. It's not money because nobody will take it. Like I said, I can go to the barbecue and give him the silver, and I can pay for my meal with the silver, but not Bitcoin. He doesn't. He's not set up for it. He doesn't like it. He'll never use it. Well, if businesses aren't going to use Bitcoin, it can't be money. Money has to be used to buy and sell things. Right? Your paycheck. I don't want to get paid in Bitcoin. No chance. Why would I? It's not real. Can I take the Bitcoin and buy gold and silver? I think on like SD Bullion you can, but not at my guy's store. I don't believe he takes Bitcoin, credit card, debit card, or money or check. And then he'd have to wait for it to clear. He's not taking Bitcoin. I go to Toyota to get my free oil change, and you know he's not taking Bitcoin. He's not taking gold or silver yet, but he will once the shit hits the fan. But he won't take Bitcoin because you don't know the real value of it. Plus, it's not even real. At least with me, with gold and silver, I can go to the store and say, "Hey, I want to cash in my, let's see, gold 52.75. I'm going to go to the store. Here's an ounce of gold. Give me 52.75, or 97% of that, depending on what he's doing now." But in Bitcoin, how do you gotta, I guess, take it out of your wallet and download it to your bank? And how long is the bank even going to accept it? And what's the real value of it? So this is the problem. But that's like a club, and you get these clubs, and that's what it is. And I think that's why I always liked individual sports over team sports. Except for I did play baseball, but it was different because it's me hitting and me catching in the field. I was part of the team, but it was still individual. That's why I like golf. It's all individual. Nobody can shoot for me, and that's what you got. But this is the problem. There's one more on how smart people handle idiots. Now this is a longer one, but we're just going to go that. Now one thing is idiots don't realize they're idiots, because if they could think clearly and critically, they would realize they're idiots. But because they can't think clearly, they don't even realize that they're idiots. The guy who argues with me about gold at the pool doesn't realize he's an idiot. He just thinks I'm wrong, and he's trying to convince me. And I'm like, and I have an answer for all his questions, and he gets mad at it. Like, I'm like, well, Mr. Know-it-all. Well, no, but I know what I know. I know gold and silver and economics, because that's what I got my master's in. So yes, I know all that. So just because you ask stupid questions doesn't mean I don't know the answer to them. So let's play a little of this Stop Reacting.
Do you want free internet? Forever? You got it. We're offering free fiber-powered internet.
Someone criticizes you, your work, your ideas, your choices, you. And in that moment, something happens inside you. Your heart rate spikes. Your mind races. You feel defensive, angry, hurt. And you have two options. React, defend yourself, attack back, prove them wrong. Or respond, pause, consider, extract whatever truth exists and discard the rest. Most people react, always, automatically, because criticism feels like attack, and attack triggers defense. But Arthur Schopenhauer discovered something that separates intelligent people from everyone else: the ability to hear criticism without emotional collapse. Not because intelligent people don't feel the sting, but because they've trained themselves to see criticism as data, not identity. Think about the last time someone criticized you. Did you immediately start constructing your defense, listing their flaws, finding reasons they're wrong and you're right? Or did you pause and ask, is any part of this true? That pause, that single moment of non-reaction, is what Schopenhauer called the mark of a superior mind. The capacity to encounter opposition without losing yourself in it. And here's what's brutal. Most people will never develop this capacity. They'll spend their entire lives emotionally hijacked by others' opinions, defending, attacking, suffering, all because they never learned the one skill that would free them: how to handle criticism without it handling them. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how intelligent people process criticism, according to Schopenhauer. Not by ignoring it, not by pretending it doesn't hurt, but by developing a psychological framework that lets you extract value from criticism while rejecting the poison. By the end of this video, you'll understand why criticism only destroys people who don't know how to process it, and you'll have the exact mental models intelligent people use to turn criticism into fuel instead of letting it become trauma. This is Schopenhauer's guide to handling criticism without losing yourself. Someone critiques your work, but what you hear is, you're incompetent. Someone disagrees with your idea, but what you feel is, you're stupid. Someone points out a mistake, but what registers is, you're a failure. This is what Schopenhauer called the identification problem, the inability to separate what you do from who you are. And it's the reason criticism destroys most people. Because when your identity is fused with your output, every critique of your work becomes an existential threat. You can't hear this argument has flaws as information. You hear it as you are flawed. And when your entire self-worth is on the line, you can't think clearly. You can only defend. Schopenhauer observed this constantly among his academic peers. Someone would critique their paper, and instead of engaging with the critique, they'd spend hours defending their ego, not because the critique was wrong, but because they couldn't separate their scholarly work from their identity as a scholar. Here's how intelligent people think differently. They see their work as separate from themselves. The essay you wrote, that's a product. It can be flawed without you being flawed. The idea you shared, that's a hypothesis. It can be wrong without you being wrong. The choice you made, that's a decision. It can be criticized without you being criticized. This separation isn't cold, it's liberating. Because once you stop identifying with your output, criticism loses its existential weight. It's no longer, they're attacking me. It's, they're giving feedback on this thing I created. And you can engage with it rationally instead of emotionally. So that's what I do. Like when somebody says, oh, I lost a football bet. So I give 10 bets and I have 2 losers and 8 winners. And I detach from it like, look, that's who I thought would win. It didn't win. I don't think, oh, I'm a bad handicapper because I lost a game. Now, yes, I want to go 10 and 0 every week. But that's the detachment. I don't take it personally that I gave a loser out because I'm going to give a loser out because I realize what I'm trying to do, I'm not going to go perfect or 100%. So I detach and I go, well, that one lost. Was it a good pick? Yes. All my picks are good picks. Theoretically, all my picks should win, but I know it's not the reality. You have turnovers and you have injuries, and that's why most of the games I lose are turnovers and injuries. The quarterback gets hurt. Well, I can't predict that. They threw 3 interceptions. Well, I can't predict that. I try to look at the touchdowns and interceptions. Like here, Darnell didn't throw the interceptions. Caleb threw 3 picks. Well, yeah, we could kind of count on that. CJ Stroud throwing 5 picks against New England. Yeah, we counted on that. We played that was an underplay, wasn't it? Yeah, I played it. It was a lock under 47 and it won. And I figured Stroud would throw picks, and that's what he did. But when I play poker, it's the same thing. This is what I think this hand will win based on the way the other guy's acting or the way the guy's betting. So I gave you that tell. So I'm heads up and the river's hit and you go first and you check. So based on that thesis, if you had a hand, you would bet it because of your ego and you're there to make money and you wouldn't want to give up an opportunity to make money. So if you got a good hand and now we're at the river, all the cards are showed and you're betting, the only way you don't bet is if you got a bad hand or maybe a pair of 5s or something. You want to see the action. Now, if I bet 40 because I'm sitting on a pocket queens and there's no ace out, there's no king out, so I'm going, yeah, okay, pocket queens. And then you come over the top and make it 100, it's an automatic call because you would have wanted to make money and you would have bet the river because you would have wanted to win, right? If you had a good hand. So what are you raising me for? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't compute. I'm critically thinking. And I'm assuming that my hand's good because I got pocket queens and there's no ace king out there. And you check the river and now you're trying to raise me on the river to buy the pot. There's no other explanation. If you had a hand, you would have bet the river. You wouldn't have checked it. So it's that kind of critical thinking that you do. And when I'm picking a football game, it's the same thing. Now, if I lost, my thinking was logical. I thought you had I thought you had nothing and you turn over trips. Well, it would be an unusual way to bet trips on the river by checking. That would have been unusual. But because you did check, now I'm betting it.
and then you're coming over the top, it just means you wouldn't have checked the first thought. So again, you're reading into it. So when I'm picking football, I'm doing the same thing, and we're struggling with the same thing in gold and silver. Egon, I'm trying to get everybody to buy gold and silver. It's going to go up. Mark McGuire, me, we all tell the same story. The problem is the people on the other end listening, if they're into Bitcoin, they won't get out. If they're into stocks, they won't get out, because that would mean they're wrong and they don't know how to think and they're not logical. So we're trying to convince people that, hey, get this gold and silver is going to the moon, you should buy it. And they don't. And then you think, well, they're idiots. Well, they are idiots because they're not smart enough to listen to us. And this is our problem, right? Bobby trying to tell his daughter, and everybody else telling their family and their sisters and their cousins and their friends, hey, you buy gold and silver. And everybody looks at them because they're all in this stock, or they're all on, I'm in my 401k. I'm in the stock market because that's where I should be. Oh, yeah, well, I'm in Bitcoin because it's not government run and it's going to go fly, even though I don't know why, but it seems to be going up. So I'm in it. And that's what you get. You get people who are sold into, no, I'm in my 401k and I'm not getting out. There's nothing you can say to get me to think to get out, right? Because they're not capable of thinking. They're going along with the game. And if everybody's into Apple and Amazon and Microsoft, they're into the big 6, 7, 8, whatever stocks. That's where the crowd is, and they want to be part of the crowd. Oh yeah, I'm in Apple too. Yeah, I'm in Apple. And you talk to me, and I go, I'm not even in the stock market. I got out of that 3 years ago because it's a Ponzi scheme. And I know that because I can think. The Attack on Wall Street guy, I show you that movie. It's the same thing. He gets into a real estate trust. He doesn't even know what a real estate trust is. He's an army guy. He's got 60 grand. Tell me what to put it in, Johnny, my financial planner. Well, I'll put it into real estate trust. Okay, I'll listen to you. I'll go along with you because I can't think on my own. But then when it goes sour, then I'm going to kill everybody because they scam me. And that's what happened. He got scammed. He didn't make anything. Well, he was in it for a while. But he wasn't smart enough to learn and think and understand, you know what, I should be in gold. If I got 60 grand, I'm putting it into gold. Do you realize with our gold, we don't need life insurance. We don't need cemetery plot insurance, the grave, the life insurance. Well, how will my kids pay? They got gold. They'll be fine. And I don't have to waste my money on life insurance where I'm making a payment every month that could go towards food and clothing and stuff. So you don't need life insurance if you got gold and silver. And now you can see what I've been saying for the last 5 years. It's going up. It's going to go up. It took a while. But I showed you that receipt, 2021. If we go back into my videos, you probably see it about 2020, 2021, start talking about gold and silver because I knew it. I knew it in 1995 when I learned it, that's what you be in. I get into baseball cards, totally blindsided by the PSA 10 grades. When I was in it in 91, I was able to critically think and not buy hoops and skybox, but to go back into the 60s and buy Mantle and Mays and Hank Aaron and Koufax and those guys, because those were the legends. So I was smart enough to go into there because I knew there'd be strong demand in that. So I always understood supply and demand. And then you get into, so you're into that but that was kind of a group thing too. Oh, you'd go to a trade show and there'd be, 10,000 people there and there'd be all these dealers. So it was like a little club, but I always kept my own thinking. I never bought because everybody else was buying. Again, I'm contrarian. I bought, let's go back and buy 1965 cards. There was one dealer who bought some set or whatever. Oh, this is my retirement. It's going to go up. And I'm thinking, let's go buy Mantle cards. Then you don't have to worry about it. So that was it. That's how you think about it. What's the best thing to be in and why? You always have to answer it with the why. Why am I in gold and silver? Oh, because it's limited, you can't print it, and more importantly, the dollar is worthless. But most people aren't going to hear the dollar's worthless. They're going to be in stock, and all the dollar's been around. What do I hear? The dollar's been around since, well, really since 1971, but we can go back to 1776. The dollar's always been around. Yeah, but this is the first time they killed it, and it still might be around, but we're not arguing if it's going to be around or not. We're arguing that it has no value because they printed it. So even my finance friends at Mercedes, oh no, it's always been there. Don't worry, it'll be there. And you're like, but it's way overproduced. It's going to go. It's worthless. And then you had the petrodollar and the BRICS kill it basically, and that was really the coup de grace. That was it. Now it's over. It's no longer the petrodollar. And now what do we do? And we got to think about it. And then we got into gold and silver. But again, you're thinking. You have to be open-minded to go, what do I get into? Not, I'm going to get into real estate trust, or I'm going to get into Wall Street, or I'm going to get into Bitcoin. All bad decisions, but you don't know any better. So now I'm part of the crew. And notice when you're in the stock market, you never leave it. Well, okay, I'm going to profit take Apple, and now I'll get into Amazon. Okay, now I'm going to profit take Amazon and get into Microsoft, and but you're always in the market. They never let you out, so you never have the money. And then when it collapses, you got nothing. Take your profit. So at least with gold and silver, we always have something, and now that it's starting to go up, now people will take notice. People will come in. The demand's not going anywhere but up. So we're kind of not surprised. It's 113. And then silver's going to go to 120, 150, 200. It's going to keep going because the demand isn't going anywhere. And it's the same thing with the gold. Just hit 50. What did it hit? 52.75. It did hit 53 over the night. It got to like 53.01, 53.02, and then it pushed back into the 52.70s and 80s. But it just, I think it was 4 o'clock yesterday, is when it pushed from like 51.30 to 52.60. I had to double check it, going 52, and now it says. And now I'm going to double check it and go 53 is not what it says. And we're just going to see it going again, because it's very simple. There's a lot of demand and there's very little supply. There's nothing more to it. The case of why is there demand? Now that's the dollar going out is creating the demand. But now you're going to get the new people in who are going to see it. And these are the Bitcoiners and the stock people who are in it for no reason but to make money. Well, Bitcoin's going up, I'll buy it. So they're going to start bailing on Bitcoin, going, well, wait, gold's going up and Bitcoin's going down, and they'll start panicking and they'll dump their Bitcoin and then come into gold, because they'll see gold going up and they don't know why, but they see it going up, and their purpose is to make money. So I'm going to make more money watching gold go. It just went 4,000. Now it's 5,000. I never thought gold could do that. And me and you are sitting there going, fuck, it's going to 25,000. So that's where you're going to get the mass group, not the individual, start flowing into gold and flowing into silver, which you don't have yet. Mostly the banks who know exactly what's going on, and Putin and Xi who go, the dollar's worthless, we're jumping into gold and silver. And still these guys on YouTube can't for the life of me figure that out. They'll sit there, well, it's going up. They never mention inflation. It's going up because Russia got they stole Russia's money, and they don't want the U.S. to steal their money, so they're getting out of dollars because they don't want. No, it's because of the inflation, because the money's not worth anything. That's why they're dumping treasuries. That's why gold and silver are going up, because you're moving billions of dollars, and you got to put it in the gold and silver. Notice they're not putting it into Bitcoin. Maybe they did initially, but they're out of it. So all the people are now dumping, because they're realizing it's not worth anything, into this. But now we're getting the collective And that's what I'm saying. Like when I used the Titanic, the frenzy. So most people didn't get off the boat because they, as the group said, oh no, the boat's unsinkable. It can't sink. Even if we hit an iceberg and the water's running in, it can't sink. So the collective said, no, 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 it can't sink. The individuals like me and you, we ran to the lifeboat because we're thinking, we're going, well, let's see how the water's coming in. The boat's going to sink. We better get off the boat. The dollar's going to sink. We got to get off the dollar. And that's what we're doing. We're using the same synergy, but most people didn't do it, right? Oh, send a martini to my room. I'm going to go take a tub as the boat's sinking. And then you start, as it's sunk and sinking, the collective start realizing, oh, fuck, we're fucked. The boat is sinking. We were wrong. But the difference is they can see they were wrong. They can see the boat going in, and then they all start to frenzy into the lifeboat, which is what's going to happen with gold and silver. They're all going to realize the dollar sunk, and they're all going to mass into the gold and silver. That's what we're waiting for. That's when we really see it go. This is just playing. Wait until the masses start realizing they're all fucked because they trusted the government, which you can't trust. Again, it's like Sam Darnold. We don't trust him until he finally does something. Oh, he did beat the Rams. Oh, he did put up 31 points. Oh, okay. We can trust him in this game. And we can't trust Drake May because of that. So that's what we're really looking at. So when we go to people like to buy gold and silver, even your kids, they're all kind of collective. Well, no, everybody says to get into the real estate trust or to get into the stock market. I'm buying Apple because everybody's in Apple. And nobody is being able to think on their own. And that is the problem. And even though those people, as I just showed you, cannot think rationally and you can't really talk them out of their state of mind. Well, Joey's in an Apple and Fred's an Apple and Lucy's in Apple. So I'm gonna buy Apple because all my friends are in, or I'm in my 401k. Every time I get in a job interview, well, we do offer a 401k, and I'm like, I don't care. I buy gold. I don't buy 401k. We match at 3%. It's worthless. It's in dollars. Dollars are worthless. I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want to play stocks. I want to buy gold and silver. And but every company is the same thing. Will put you into the 401k and match it. And you get to buy stocks or mutual funds or whatever. And you're like, yeah, that's a sucker play. That's not a good play. But try to be individual. And I think that's my problem now at work. I don't really want to be a teammate. What do I need to do? Oh, do this, do that, do this spreadsheet, do that. Okay, fine. Where's the spreadsheet? Oh, how do I get into SAP or PeopleSoft or Oracle? How do I pull the ledger? I'll analyze it. I'll do it all kind of as part of the team, but I'm doing my thing. I don't want to be in a team. And no, Mercedes, it worked great. And at Hiram Walker, it worked great. And at Tenneco, it didn't work great. They didn't like that. They just wanted you to shut up and do your job and be part of the team. And I didn't want to do that. So I don't know that I'm working again. Just this. My work is going to be football and this. I don't honestly see going to a job anymore. I really don't want to. And if the way this is going, I won't need to. My gold and silver is I was very smart, and now I'm starting to see the rewards, and I don't see where I'd have to go to work as these keep going. Now, if it fell to zero, I'd have to go to work, but the odds on that happening are zero. That can't happen because BRICS is buying it. You see them try to drop it like Christmas. They tried to get silver down to 70. It was 70 or 71. And now it's at 113. So you see how good that worked. They tried knocking it down and they couldn't knock it down. So no, as long as there's BRICS and as long as they're buying gold and silver, as long as all these companies need the silver, you're going to keep having it. But that's what I wanted to, it kind of clarifies that our struggles with trying to get people to buy gold and silver. Now, I can say I put castor oil and coconut oil, and now I put the cayenne pepper and for the hair. You can see my hair is growing. So you can see it, and look at all this. So you can see it, so it works. I can trust that it worked because I proved it. I put onions on the bottom of my feet and my cold went away. And Daria tried it, and Jenna tried it, and Alyssa tried it, and it worked for everybody. They all tried it, and it all worked. So now people are going, oh, that does work, because you could see the result. You can't really see the result of the dollar going to zero. You can't really see the result of Bitcoin because it's still 80,000 or whatever. You can't really see you don't see, you see the prices going up at the grocery store, but you don't see the dollar going down. You can't connect it. Prices are going up because the dollar's going down. And so since you can't see it, you can't buy that thesis. And that's where the problem comes in, right? So if it's something that you can see, yes, the sky is blue and the sun's yellow and, they can see it, then if they can see it, they can trust it. But in Bitcoin, they don't know. They see it at 90 or 100, and that's all they know. They don't know why, or that it's a Ponzi scheme, or the fact you can't see it, or the fact it's not backed by gold. They can't see any of that, so they trust it. All they trust is, hey, it's at 80,000. John C. TK, what would you think if the Patriots win? What would I think? I would think the same thing. I would have to see what happened. I wouldn't think anything. I mean, they could win. Drake May could get hot. Seattle's defense could fall apart. Darnold could throw 5 pick sixes. It depends on why they win and how they win. Now, I'm thinking that Seattle should win the game. They're the better team, but we can't really trust New England because they haven't played it. They played Buffalo twice. That was it. They won at Buffalo on a fluke, and then the big game in New England against Buffalo, they lost. And that's all I have to go on. They played one team that was good, and they split with them. But watching the Denver game and the San Diego game and the Houston game, there's no way in hell Drake May is going to struggle mightily, and Darnell probably will struggle a little bit. New England does have a good defense. That's why I really love the under in the game. You're not going to get that many points, but I think at the end of the day, the balanced offense of Seattle is much better than New England's, and therefore Darnold, who's looking good, and Smith, and Kenny Walker, I think that's the difference, as I'm pointing out. But I give Seattle a defensive edge. And when they play a Stafford, and when New England plays a Josh Allen, you can see they're going to give up points. But if they don't, they're playing a CJ Stroud or a backup from Denver, you can see how strong they are. Here they get Darnell, who's a little of in between. He's not a Stafford. He's not a Josh Allen, but he's better than Stidham. So I think he'll be good enough to win. But upsets happen all the time. It just, you're looking at the team now. Miami beating Ohio State. What did I think? I thought that Ohio State was overrated and their quarterback wasn't that good. And Miami obviously is a better offense than I thought. Excuse me. I might have to go to the onion on my foot tonight. I know it's not a bad. I mean, I'm just a little nasal now. I was able to sleep fine, but anyway, did that surprise me? No. I mean, in college, I was surprised that Oregon beat Texas Tech 24-0. I was more surprised Oregon put up 24 points, but I was surprised by it. But I learned from it. All these are learning. I'm learning every game. And what I learned from Seattle when they I thought the Rams would win the game. What did I think? I thought, okay, well, Darnell didn't choke. Okay, that was my thought. So there's no real thinking. Like I said, it's the same thing in poker. I get pocket aces and I bet and I lose the hand. Some guy hits trip sevens on me. He flops a 7. What do I think? Well, nothing. I don't work like that. I just, okay, that, and I know what happened. And for the next bet, I know how to handle it. You make so now I'm a little more conservative with aces on the flop. And so when a guy check raises me, so it's the same thesis, right? I got aces, you got a pair of sevens, and the flop hits a seven, and you check, and then I bet with my aces, and then you check raise me. In that situation, I fold. 100% of the time I fold, because the only reason you check, because you knew I had a big hand. So you can't be bluffing me, because I bet free flop and then I bet the flop. So oh, he's probably got a good hand. So if I check and he still bets, okay, he's probably got aces, kings, or queens. And now I hit my third seven. So there's no point. If I come out in betting, I know he's going to bet. So you check, I bet, and then you raise me figuring I won't fold, but I will fold because I'm smart enough to think and understand it. So it doesn't, I don't know what the question is. What would I think if the Patriots win? I would think the Patriots won. Maybe Drake May's better than I thought. Their defense I know is pretty good. Darnell's a choke, so that wouldn't change anything. So we'll see. But I think Darnell, the trust went from 0 to maybe 25% because he beat the Rams, which was a good team and a good game. So he looked good in the game. Not that the Rams have a great defense. It's about the same as New England's, right? New England's is probably a little bit better, but again, they didn't play anybody. And when they did play Josh Allen, they gave up 35. So that's where I'm at with it. Now, again, Josh Allen was able to runs a little bit more. So now getting into these new coaches and coordinators for the NFL, I mean, almost half the teams fired their coach. I mean, you have 10 fired coaches, and you're firing Buffalo and Baltimore's coach. Now, I don't get anybody wanting Harbaugh like he's it. What did he do? You had Lamar and Henry, and you couldn't win anything. So you're just going to come in here and win? I mean, you've coached a long time, and you didn't win shit. You won one Super Bowl, beating your brother with the one guy, quarterback, who sucked. That's it. So I don't really get the big deal for Harbaugh. Sean McDermott, I thought should have been fired years ago. That made sense. Excuse me. So yeah, I mean, I see that, but there is no very good coaches. Sean Payton's the best coach. I mean, he almost won. He should have won with the backup Stidham, who hadn't played in 2 or 3 years. That's how good Sean Payton is. But I don't see very good coaches. It's the same thing. It's the Nazi thing where everybody just goes along and nobody thinks independently. When they're picking a new coach or new GM, they don't know what they're doing. Oh, Harbaugh, yeah, he's really good. Okay, we'll take him. What do you mean you take him? You think the Giants are going to go to the Super Bowl next year because they got Harbaugh? No, they still got a terrible quarterback in Dart, and their defense maybe gets a little better, but Baltimore, they didn't have the great defense anyway. Let's see. Baltimore's defense was a 22 near the end of the year. And again, they're playing Cleveland, who has no offense twice. Joe Burrow, the one game they shut him out in the cold, and the other game he killed them. They got killed by Buffalo. They got killed by Kansas City. So I don't know what he is. He's a special teams coach. I don't get it. I don't like Jim Harbaugh either at San Diego. But they again aren't thinking, well, this is what we need. This is the type of coach we need. And I don't even know if there's any of those types of coaches out there. A Lombardi, a Bill Walsh, a Bill Parcells. I don't think these coaches exist anymore. Joe Gibbs, Tom Landry, even Ditka, who was okay. I just don't see that. Hank Stram, John Madden. I don't know how good John Madden was as a coach, but he He laughed a lot, I guess. The coaching's so bad. The quarterback play is so bad. Like Brady's saying, these quarterbacks think it's flag football and they run and they can slide, they can't get hurt. So a lot of them are running rather than staying in the pocket, figuring out how to get better against the defense. So I think this whole thing is becoming nobody's thinking. And the social media is killing that too. Oh, let me see what's on TikTok and let me go, here and there. Let me go on my Facebook, which I'm not on, and let me go on my Twitter, and I'll try to get liked. I mean, I say I got one like. I don't care. I assume if you're here, you like the class, and if you don't like the class, I assume you don't come. But I don't care. I'm not doing this I'm doing this to educate. I'm doing this for the right reason, to educate. And all I know is I critically think things. That's why I'm so good at picking football games, so good at poker, so good at telling you about gold and silver and economics, because I'm actually giving you the real answers, not just the questions. So I don't just say, yeah, well, inflation's 2%. I'm not even in the right ballpark, because it's not a percentage and it's not 2%. The dollar's worthless. So your inflation, you've killed the dollar. That's the point of the inflation. But I tell you that. How are you able to critically think and figure out things with me going, oh, yeah, he makes sense. That's what he's doing. Or are you a group guy going, oh, no, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm a Lions fan, and no, he doesn't. Jared Goff doesn't stink. He's good. No, he does stink, but you won't think it, and you'll just go along with the gang. Oh, and just like I'm showing you, let me show you a little bit more of that. But this is what happened in Germany. All these smart people just went along. Now, the other part of it is Hitler was, if you don't, I'm going to kill you. So that would make you want to go along, even though you're still critically thinking. You had to go along with it, or you'd go to the concentration camps. So we're not hearing the whole story, but yeah, it was the collective for Germany, not for me. Right. All right. A little bit more of this.
Marcus Aurelius understood this perfectly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Criticism is an outside event. Your identity is internal. They don't have to be connected. Think about how this plays out in real life. Someone says your presentation was confusing. Most people hear, you're a bad presenter. You failed. Everyone thinks you're incompetent. Intelligent people hear, this particular presentation could be clearer. What specific elements were confusing? How can the next one be better?
Hunger and relentlessness. I mean, people ask me all the time, I travel all over the earth. I've worked.
Nobody cares.
What specific elements were confusing? How can the next one be better? Same words, completely different processing. One destroys confidence, one builds competence. The difference? Separation of identity from output. What this requires, you have to build a stable sense of self that isn't dependent on external validation. You have to know who you are independent of what you produce. You have to recognize, I am not my work, I am not my ideas, I am not my choices. I am the person capable of producing work, generating ideas, and making choices. And that person can improve without being fundamentally broken. Schopenhauer put it bluntly. What disturbs and alarms man are not the things, but his opinions and fancies about the things. The criticism isn't the problem. Your fusion of self with criticized thing, that's the problem. The practice. Next time someone criticizes your work, pause and ask, are they critiquing what I made or who I am? If they're critiquing what you made, that's just feedback. Extract the useful information. If they're critiquing who you are, that's their projection. Discard it. But most importantly, stop doing the fusion for them. Stop hearing critique of your work as attack on your worth. You are not your output. And that separation will save you years of unnecessary suffering. Criticism from different people feels completely different. When someone you respect points out a flaw, you listen, you consider, you might even thank them. But when someone you don't respect says the exact same thing, rage, defensiveness, dismissal. Why? Because intelligent people have learned what Schopenhauer called the hierarchy of opinion. Not all criticism carries equal weight, and knowing whose criticism matters is as important as knowing how to handle it. Schopenhauer was brutal about this. The wise have always said the same things, and fools, who are the majority, have always done the opposite. Translation: most criticism comes from fools, and fools' opinions are worth precisely nothing. But here's where people get it wrong. They either dismiss all criticism because ego, or accept all criticism because insecurity. Neither works. Intelligent people do something more sophisticated. They evaluate the critic before evaluating the criticism. They ask, does this person have the knowledge, experience, or judgment to critique this? If yes, the criticism deserves serious consideration, even if it stings. If no, the criticism deserves polite dismissal, even if it's delivered with confidence. Think about what...
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. So depending on who, if I'm playing poker and I'm playing with just some guys from Detroit, and they make comments, I don't care. But if I'm sitting there with Doyle Brunson and he makes a comment, I might take that and go, yeah, that might have been a better idea, because they know things. So it depends on the knowledge of the person giving it to you. One guy said, oh, I lost a bet. And I just dismissed it going, okay, we lose bets. If you're intelligent, you would know that we lose bets, right? I don't claim to pick every game right, and I know that. So if you are criticizing me picking a game wrong, then I look at you like you don't know what you're talking about, because of course I'm going to pick games wrong. That's why I tell you to bet part of your bankroll, just a little bit. Don't get too carried away. And believe me, the game that I get wrong are good bets that I think are going to win. So what's the criticism for? It wasn't a bad game. It just didn't end up right. That happens, but the bet was a good bet. All my bets, I believe. I look at the game and I go, like, here, I'm giving you Seattle 30-10. I think Seattle's going to win. If they lose, my thinking and my rationale, my thesis is Walker and Smith and Jimba, and maybe Darnold's done joking, and they got a good defense. They got a great defense, and Drake May's not going to do anything. But if Darnold throws the ball, those 4 pick sixes, there's nothing I can do. Can I factor that in? Well, after watching him against the Rams and the Niners, he didn't have too bad of a day. He seems to be getting over his insecurities and his chokiness. So I believe it's a good play. And that's all I can do, is I believe it's a good play and go with it, versus I don't know. And, but I'm not guessing at these games. I have a very mature professional opinion on the game. What I think, I'll give you the score. I had what did I have? LA 27-24 Seattle. It's going to be a high scoring game. LA is going to score 27 on the team, and they did score 27. It was 31-27. So basically Seattle got an extra touchdown, 31-27, because the guy missed the punt, which I can't factor in, a guy falling on a punt. But if he doesn't fall on the punt, the Rams win 27-24. And that's exactly the score I came with. So that's what I'm basing it on here, 30-10. I had, the Bears 20-17 against the Rams, and the Rams went 20-17. So I nailed the score. So I give you all these details, and you can see how accurate I am. So it's a very highly professional opinion when I give it, but I don't just pick it out of the blue. I do a lot of studying work to come up with it. And that's what I try to teach you, is what am I looking at to come up with with the thing. What am I looking at to come up with economics and gold and silver and the market? Oh, there's no market. If there's no market, electric cars, there's no market in the US for electric cars, and the stock's way too high. But that's again where everybody jumps into the stock because everybody's in it. Well, Joey's in the stock, so I'm going to be in it. Just like Madoff. Why did Madoff work? Because the collective were all in Madoff. And Madoff showed you he was giving you 15% a year for 20 years in his thing. So everybody thought, wow, this guy can pick. He's a Wall Street guy. He's got his regular fund that's doing well. My dad's in it, and he's made money for 5 years. He's made 15% like clockwork. How would you not trust Madoff? Yeah, some of the people, how do you do it, Madoff? And he won't tell you. Now, that's a red flag. What do you mean you won't tell me? Well, why won't you? I sit there and share why gold and silver goes up because I know why. And I want you to know why. And then you can say, yeah, that's why I buy it. But it's the same thing. But all the collective was in Madoff. Everybody trusted. Then the SEC doesn't find anything. So everybody trusted them. Well, if the SEC says they're clean, then what do I got to worry about? My dad's in it, and he's making money right and left every year, 15%, even though everybody else makes 4%. SEC looks at it, they're fine. JP Morgan doesn't say a word because they're in on it. The Russian mafia is in on it. But you don't know it's a Ponzi scheme, but you're making 15% a year. So why would you not think it was logistic? And you wouldn't care if it's legal because you're getting your 15% for 20 years. Why would you care if it's legal or not? I think the conclusion of everybody having to pay back the money if they made money was a farce. What are you kidding me? What do you mean I got to pay back the money? That money's gone. I ain't paying back nothing. And again, if you put your money in gold and silver, you don't have any money. So they can't really do anything to you, right? Anyway, that's the collective. Everybody goes in because everybody else is in. So it's a lot like Bitcoin. And when it crashes, nobody's smart enough to make their own independent thought about, why am I in Bitcoin? How does it go up? How does it go? Is it really limited? It's not even real. I can't see it. I don't know anything. Why would I be in something that I can't see or use? And that most businesses will never take. You can't go to Kroger's with it. So you've got to understand all that. You've got to think about it. My explanation of Bitcoin was, what's it backed by? Nothing. Then I don't want anything to do with it. It's phony. It's got to be backed by gold. Even the dollar. This is phony. This isn't real. This isn't worth anything because it's not backed by anything. The backing gives it the value. This has no backing. It's worthless. It's been worthless since 1972. The fact that the Ponzi scheme is the whole country and everybody's in it doesn't make it real. It just makes that everybody's in on the Ponzi scheme. And so you're making a lot of money. You have more billionaires because the dollar's worthless than you ever had, but they're really not holding anything of value. They have 1 billion pieces of monopoly money, and they're not realizing it. We've figured out that it's the gold and silver. We pulled the curtain back. We see what we need. We see there's the golden goose. So it's like we're in a dream. We see the golden goose, and here he is. Look, the golden goose left us some gold. Silver here, gold there. That's the key. We have figured out the key to what we need because we thought about it. We didn't just go with the field. And that's what you got to be careful of. But again, that's why it's hard to teach this. You can only teach it to people who want to learn about it. You can't teach it to people that already have their mind made up. I got to buy gold. I got to get out of the dollars. I got to buy gold. So people like that we can talk to. People that I'm in stocks and I'm in a 401k and I'm not getting out. It's worth 500 grand. I'm not getting out. Why? What are you worried about? Well, what if I sell it? I got to pay tax, and then gold and silver goes down, and I lost my 500,000. This is their argument. In which case, you say, "What are you talking about? Gold and silver are not going down. They're limited. Your dollar is going down. Your 500,000 soon to be worth zero, or maybe you get 10,000 out of it because the dollar's worthless. But people can't see that. And so you can't convince them. In other words, if they're going to lose their money, they got to lose it on their own. Well, I got 500K in the stock market and I can't see why is it going down. It's now 49,000. It's all bullshit. It's all a Ponzi. No, the U.S. economy is terrible. It's not good. How can it be good? You have no money. The money's worthless. That's the economy. So people don't get it. Those are the people that are really getting screwed because they don't know what they don't know. They don't know the dollar's worthless. They think their stocks, it's stock. It's not even in dollars. I'm in Microsoft and Apple and Amazon. What could go wrong? Well, as the dollar's worthless and the economy falls apart, everybody sells their assets, which will, in their case, be stocks, and the stock market collapses, and all the foreigners will get out of it as they want to get out of dollars. They get out of the stock market, which is where they parked trillions of dollars. So they sell the stocks to get out to go buy gold. That's what happens. Like Warren Buffett has sold most of his stocks are sold. Now he's still in US dollars, but he's out of the stock market and it didn't collapse it. But as more people do it, and as more people are going to need money, that'll be the key, right? So, I gotta have Jimmy's college. Well, I don't have any money. I can't work. Oh, but I do have, 10,000 shares of Amazon. I'm going to sell 1,000 of them, and then Johnny can go to college. I mean, that's where you start pulling from is your assets. So again, it's people can't see it. They won't trust you that about gold and silver. They won't understand. Even if you explain it as I do, the dollar's been inflated. It's worthless. Gold and silver are going up, as you can see. You get a little bit more push now because they can see it. Oh, shit. Gold's over 5,000. Oh, shit. Silver is over 100. They start seeing it, but nudges them that they believe it. Just like Darnell. He's won. All right, he won 3 big games, the Niners twice in the Rams. Okay, maybe he's coming along. That's better than last year. He had to walk before he ran. So again, they don't trust gold and silver, but it's the safest thing. But they can't see it and they won't listen to it. I don't want to hear it. I'm in my stocks. I got my 500K in my 401K. I don't want to hear that my money's worthless. Even if it is, and you can prove it, they don't want to hear it. And basically that's the problem. So basically that's today's lesson. I've been hearing that. The one about Germany really got me, where everybody just went along because everybody was going along and it was for the country, not for the individual. You've got to keep for the individual, right? You can't play for the country. You play for the individual. You play for yourself. And that's how you end up ahead is thinking and going, does that make sense? Does Bitcoin make sense? Does the stock market make sense? How the fuck is the stock market 49,000? How do you get that, right? If I click off, thank you, I don't know, I just froze, then usually I lose internet. That happens. I won't come back. It's been 2 hours, but anyway. So I think I'll leave it with that. Basically, think, what are we looking for? Limited items with high demand, gold, silver, metal cards. Again, if you can find uranium, I'm going to check uranium and see, can we buy coins? Can we buy uranium jewelry? Or is it just a mineral that you can't really buy or you got to buy stock? But that's the next very limited supply with very high demand item because they're using it to make these nuclear power plants in China, probably in Russia, probably a lot of BRICS countries. And I'll leave you with this last thought again. This gold silver ratio, what they're missing is they're giving you that gold is more limited in supply than silver. And so therefore the price of silver should go to 10 to 1 because that's how you pull it out of the ground. But the other half of the formula that is missing, which is the demand for it. if there's more demand because of the industry and people like us getting out of the dollar, buying silver than there is to buy gold, then silver could conceivably be more expensive than gold. Will it happen? It could, as much as people need silver and as gold's expensive. Now, if it gets even, so let's say gold's up to 10 grand, and here comes silver, and the demand's huge, and the demand for silver is more than the demand for gold, and the supply for silver is more than it is for gold, but by the demand is way more than the difference in supply. Could we get silver 10 grand and gold 10 grand and a 1-to-1 ratio? Absolutely. We could, because it's got nothing to do with the ratio. That's again only the supply side. It's not the demand side. So yeah, banks demand, they buy a lot of gold because it's for safety, but silver is also safety. So as they start realizing this, and it's got a huge head start because of tier one, right? So everybody was in gold tier one, and the price went up, and silver's sitting there at $35 because it's not Basel III. And then now it's starting to move, and we're seeing some nice movement. Can it catch gold? Well, we're going to have fun watching it. Could it? Yes, possibly if the demand's strong enough. But I think what happens is as it starts getting even, so gold's 10,000, let's say silver hits 8,000, you're going to force people back into gold because you'd rather have gold than so. If even, I'd rather have gold than silver. At gold at 5,000, silver at 100, I'm going to buy silver because it's a bargain. But as it gets closer to even, now I'm back on gold. I prefer gold over silver if it's the same because it's more limited. So that's where the limited comes in. However, the demand, if it's very, very strong, then the demand could trigger silver to be more expensive than gold, even though gold is more limited. Because it won't be, it'll be like, oh yeah, Samsung needs, Apple needs it for the phone, or somebody needs it for their computer. And so therefore they'll need silver. So they're gonna need silver no matter what. That could put the price over. But people like us, we're gonna say, no. If it's the same, I'll buy gold. So this whole ratio thing again is one-sided. It's only the supply side, not the demand side. And the demand for silver is growing. And as it hits more and more, you'll get more people like us who are in it to get out of the dollar buying silver. And that silver price should explode fairly soon. Well, you can see it's exploding, but this is nothing. By the end of the year, as silver keeps going, I mean, I think once it hits 250 or 300, I think then you're going to see it go $60-$70 a day. It will blow through 500, 600, 700, and again, the ratio is meaningless. I mean, this is where they don't think it through. But this is us being critical, right? We're critically thinking what Egon's saying. He's saying, well, it's 5-to-1, it's 10 to the ratio. And we go, why? It's based on demand, not supply. If demand's more than supply, if the extra demand is more than the extra supply, then it'll be the same price. And so that's where they don't think. They react to this gold silver ratio. It's really a meaningless ratio. So I will leave you with that. So have a good day. I'm off. It wasn't snowy. It's still fucking cold here. I'll go hit the pool and try to get rid of this little nasal. I might have to go to the Onion tonight. Anyway, we'll see after I take a hot tub and get in the pool if I get rid of my cold. Anyway, the other day I was sneezing every minute. Now I'm not sneezing, just a little pluggy. And that's it. So have a great day. www.teaserking.com. And as we do, let's go and see where gold's at now. All right, gold is about to hit 5,300. It had 5,300 during class, and it dropped a little to 52.87. Now it's 52.98. So we're looking at 5,300 anytime now. And it could go to 5,400 when China gets through with it because they're buying the shit out of it. Silver 114.12. Again, let's look at the silver chart. Did it hit 115? Silver did hit 115 at just before 10 o'clock. Got back to 114.90, and then it just dropped for whatever reason. So we're at 114.15, but we were real close at like 12:30 of getting back to one. It was probably 114.80. So we're at 114. I don't know why it's going down, but again, so now it's up $8 today, which I don't know how it was. It wasn't 106 yesterday. It was 113. We came out, it was 113, but let's see. I tell my friend when I go to sleep. So at 9 o'clock at night, it was 113.59. And at 11:30, it was 115.41. And we see gold went to 52.36. So at 11:30, when I was getting ready for bed, gold hit 52.36. Silver was 115. So I don't really understand how can it be up $7 at 114 when it was 115 at night. I think it goes by 24-hour period. So we will see. Anyway, so 114. But the gold is very close, 52.97. So 53. So people are noticing this. Now we're having a little bit. Silver jumped up, right? It was right around 100. It jumped to 115. And so now we got it at 114. So we'll see what happens. But people will take notice and they'll start moving in. Silver at 114 is reasonable. They'll look at gold at 5,300 going, that's a little expensive. And that's why I advise buying quarter ounces or tenth of an ounce. You can buy those and you're fine. But anyway, very good to see 5,300 gold and 114 silver. I'd like to get into the 120s already. I don't know what it's waiting for. All right, well, have a good day. Again, when I pick football, I'm problem solving at a very high level. And the fact that I picked this game quicker, well, as soon as I saw it, I already had known what I was going to do with it based on problem solving at the last few games. It's basically Seattle's defense and the fact that Drake May, struggles against good defenses. And basically they struggle against good offenses. In Seattle, it's just they're a better team. I only have to lay 4, so I get 1.5, and definitely should be a low scoring game with the two good defenses. So that's how I rate it. But can New England win? Sure, they could if Darnold throws a lot of picks, but otherwise, I don't see them. Can it be close? Sure. I mean, 30-10, it might not be, but I got a feeling when they get rolling, May will start throwing some interceptions, and that'll lead to points. And we'll see. Anyway, have a good day. www.teaserking.com. And I will talk to you tomorrow. All right, stay safe. Buy your gold and silver. Watch it go.